market, and I'm really happy to have half an hour with her to talk to her about everything that she's doing at the moment. So Deepti, welcome.
Thank you very much, Helen. Lovely to be here, and always happy to connect with you and talk about my story and share the journey, what we've done so far, and what we are going to be in a few years' time. Thank you very much.
Well, it's an amazing story. So I want to kick off with that, really. If you can just tell everybody a bit about what PCL Health does. And I know you were formerly Punya Care, so maybe explain the Punya part and a little bit about your entrepreneurial background as well.
Right. Yeah. Thank you very much. So yeah, I am an entrepreneur by background for about 22 years. I started my first agency back in 1999, 2000, that time, mainly into digital markets where I've done all sort of small, large corporate projects, manage a lot of small, medium and high budgets like about £1 million a month for one of the campaigns. So that's been my journey. A lot of tech work that I've done in my past, and enjoyed using technology for the businesses, and made a lot of money in that as well. But that was 2017 when I was thinking, why is care and health so fragmented? I live in London. I've been here for many years, and it's my mother who lives in India, and I was kind of very much in stress that why do I not know what's happening? How can I contribute to her health and wellness? Only if I could see, is everything okay? How can I contribute to that? What can I do actually? And also I have had a few startups in my background where I enjoyed what I was doing, but this time I wanted to do something where I can have a social impact, not just helping me, but also helping everybody else in the same space as me, as in connecting with their families and their loved ones when they can't actually be there, but also getting along with their own journey, their own life. We're all very busy in life. So that was my pain, that, okay, I have a very busy life, but I care and I do want to contribute. What do I do? That's how I started my journey, looking into what are the options. And there were options, like there were tools, there were algorithms, there were some devices. There was not one solution. And that's how the journey for Punya started. I decided to go back to India after meeting quite a lot of interesting companies in the sphere of medtech. And I went to America, Sweden, Germany, into various medical conferences and made some partnerships, and then decided to go back to India, set up a team, get started with a solution, which is one solution. So Punya, we discussed that the name has to indicate what we want to do. So Punya means earning good karmas. And that's how Punya came into existence. There was a small tech team in India. We took about 12 months in integrating and coming up with a solution. And I was still talking in India. We are a digital India startup company as well. And I got opportunity to talk about what we're doing. So there was one exhibition, one of the conferences where there were a lot of chief medical officers, and I had a slot to talk about how Punya is using technology to enable care, and specifically healthcare actually. So that's where we got interest from quite a few chief medical officers, 25 of them. They said we would like to get started. So that's how we started with some pilots in India in 2019. After we completed what I wanted, really, that I wanted to see my mother on my hand, like on my phone. Is she okay? Do I need to do something? When that particular bit was completed, I came back to England with a complete prototype, did a few pilots in India with elderly care people, and our journey started here. But I saw that a lot of people could not pronounce Punya properly, and there were a lot of people they are still talking to us, very interested into working with what we are doing. Actually, they want to use what we're doing actually, but they can't pronounce Punya properly, and that's how we renamed Punya to PCL, which is Punya Care Limited.
So it's been a huge journey over the last couple of years, obviously, from the initial kernel of that idea, which I think everyone can identify with. People, especially during the pandemic, they've got elderly parents in care homes they can't visit. They've got elderly parents maybe living in their own homes, but they still can't be near them and keep track of their healthcare. This is actually a problem for myself right now, which is why I really connect with the whole PCL story. So you've gone from that initial seed of Punya to PCL Health, and now you're growing quite fast. And I wanted to ask, how has kind of COVID-19, the pandemic, impacted on that? How has it sort of shifted your idea of what PCL can do, and how's it affected the growth of the company?
Well, obviously nobody had foreseen in 2018 COVID is coming, but because of COVID, you can't meet doctors, you can't meet so many people, you're on your own, but care is still that important. So obviously this has changed the whole phenomena. Now there are concepts of virtual care, virtual health, virtual, like doing everything what we're talking virtually. Otherwise I would have been with you in a real place, and we would have all these people, like, everybody together with us. We
Yeah,
probably
it's
would
my dream
have.
one day that this chat show will be two people sitting in chairs in an actual room as opposed to online, but we have to wait longer for that.
And so post-COVID, everything, like specifically in care and health, has become virtual because it's not optional. Care is required, and health needs monitoring. So NHS is introducing, for example, lots and lots of virtual wards, and they are saving a lot of lives, because they're not just like, they can't get people into hospital, they can't do everything as it was earlier, but they can provide health still. And thank you to the technology that you have IoT, wearable tech, and even robotics. A lot of technology, material and pieces are there which can be connected seamlessly, and then doctors can work. So that's how Punya is actually in the right time, just doing the right things, actually.
Right time, right place. Yeah, I mean, I noticed you've got your watch there, which is on your wrist, and many people have these various gadgets. I'm going to come back to that in a minute, but obviously you've got the option of various different ways of collecting the vital signs, and then that information gets sent to a doctor or a carer who can process and interpret that. So that could be valuable. The initial concept of elderly care is still valid, obviously, but also for things like post-COVID monitoring, or
that's right,
other COVID related, people self-isolating and so on. So I guess, as you say, the impetus for virtual care has only become even greater, which is good news for you, but also good news for the potential users of PCL Health's products. So it's interesting looking at the impact on investment as well, because we got some data through this morning, I think from PitchBook, saying that there's been this huge increase in venture capital funding. I think for the enterprise health and wellness tech market is about 70% higher this year than it was last year. And there was a 60% increase even in the last quarter of last year against the third quarter. So obviously, people are greatly interested in wearables, remote monitoring, age tech. What are the drivers for that? Obviously COVID is one, but what else is driving that market really?
Okay, I think the drivers are mainly that people are moving towards seamless connection. They, they would like to have something which is kind of checking them, and still they're not going to the doctor. It's like, I don't want to go to the doctor, sit in the queue, even if it was not COVID, pre-COVID as well. This was, a very valid use case, that you're going all the way to just check your vitals, and doctor is going to tell you that, okay, you're fine.
A lot of waste of time, isn't it, in a busy world? And I think also the health systems are pushing for that more. They want the patient to be cared for at home as much as possible from their perspective, because it saves them money too.
That's one. And then the second is internet, actually, which is growing faster and faster, and the cost of internet is going lower. So it doesn't cost you much, actually. And then the third is that you'll see that 70% of the elderly people, or let's say people from 65 onwards, are very, very active on internet, the social media sites. And I mean, they like to know things, and that's another one. And then the fourth,
what we think of as elderly has definitely changed, hasn't it? Because in the past you might think 60 or 65 was elderly, whereas now we think that elderly is really more 80 plus or something like that.
That's right, yeah. So, but at the same time, people start to see the deterioration when they're in 60s or mid 60s, and then they want to know, is everything all right? So all we are trying to do is that giving that tool which can help them in understanding the preventive care is very important. Just taking a few examples from India, actually, and across the globe, people would just have heart attack, stroke, and so many other problems when they would actually not know something is going on inside their body, and they need to respond to the signals. Now, you wouldn't know.
That happened in your India pilot, didn't it? That you picked up in the first ever pilot some problems that you identified.
there were so many cases, not only in India, but particularly in India, which was the aged, like the elderly people, where they did not know a lot of things. And then using our vitals and the IoT technology, we connected them with a doctor, and they could see that there was step one, identified the problems, and then step two is working on correcting it, and then saw that their health score has improved over the period of time. But in England, when we participated in about 7 various conferences in 2019. That's when we saw that so many healthy looking people in their 30s. One of the guy was actually 28 only. They said, can we try your, the devices, and can we check how does it work? And we notified them how actually they did not know that they were on a very high blood pressure or high sugar. And if you have a high BP, then that's a danger, because it can go undiagnosed and you can end up into having some serious problems which cannot be reversed. So you need to have that checked, but people don't check it actually. Why would you, when you are healthy, but you don't know really? So it's preventive care is one of the important bits that we are helping in, and people are more proactive towards their own health. It only takes few seconds or few minutes actually, press a button and that's it really.
And I think one of our participants, Bridget, made a really important point actually in the chat just now, which is that maybe this will also increase gender equity, in the sense that if more tech is integrated, a lot of this caring role tends to fall on the daughter or the daughter-in-law of the person, and not always, everybody else is involved. And so
that's a very good
there's
point.
a simple technical way to check up on things, and it's quick and efficient. Right. You can do it while you're at work or whatever you're doing, then maybe, it will even out the balance as well in terms of gender.
I mean, I can't tell you how relaxed and peaceful I feel now versus in 2018, when I was very anxious and restless that really I can't just be here and do nothing about things that, she might need me. My mother might need my help. I mean, she's perfectly fine, but then she was early dementia. And I was really worried that, is there anything I can do? So I know about a problem that comes before. And I'm very busy now, but I still get to see every single thing on my phone, and it's just a phone call away. That's what I would say, that I can just simply call somebody and get the care organized. That's what I feel grateful about actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting rid of that mental load, I think, is a huge bonus. I've got one more question in the chat, but I'm going to come on to one of my questions, which is, how does PCL stand out? Because there are many people who've already got an Apple Watch or a Fitbit, or they're doing some of this for themselves already. So what's different? How can you kind of stand out in this crowded kind of wearables marketplace with what you're doing?
Yeah, I think I would say that we are an ecosystem, and how I see my PCL growing is that we're going to be we aim to be a global brand. We're already opening our offices in other countries. We want to have more and more IoT devices, sensors integrated within our platform, and
it doesn't mean that you have to have the PCL watch necessarily. You could have your own watch and then integrate that.
That's right.
Yeah.
You could have a Google Watch or an Apple Watch, and then we can, you don't need to buy anything from us. But what you want is the connected care. You want the doctor and the family to be connected on a platform. So you're living how you want to live, and the data, which is important, is sent to the important stakeholders. So I see that we are going to be an ecosystem where you have various devices connected already. You just go pick something, see, connect it, and you're on our ecosystem.
And so that data platform will be the key part in a way, because there you'll be able to see the analysis.
Yes, that's right.
What's going on, and share that with other people, which is the part I guess we don't have at the moment. We may have a watch or a other device, but we don't have the connection into my gadgets that I use are not connected into my GP or other people that might want to get involved in tracking my healthcare. So there's the middle piece is missing in a way.
That's right. So we want to make sure that we're using best of the technology to provide the best healthcare remotely, and so that you're not worried anymore, and you've got the right people looking after your parents. And still, it doesn't have to be expensive. That's how technology should be. It should give you the peace of mind that, okay, they have the right care and everything is connected.
And I know you're currently fundraising on Crowdcube. What was it? I know the various female entrepreneurs in women in tech groups that I'm part of that are interested in, how to fundraise, because it is harder for women entrepreneurs to fundraise. Why did you decide to go down the crowdfunding route as opposed to other routes?
So I would say that we found our angel investor, Richard Hargreaves, who's a very seasoned guy. He knows what he's doing. We had about 6-7 meetings, and he was saying that we can actually raise the entire money from angel co-fund. I know, and we can get it done. But then I actually proposed him the idea that the problem that we are solving right now is something which everybody can kind of relate with it, and we would like people to come up and give us their opinion and be part of the longer journey, not just we want them to check what we're doing, how we're doing, and be the stakeholder in the journey as well. So I think it gives us a good branding, and we connect with the people who are going to be with us lifetime, and we get their feedback as well. It's I would say free publicity as well, and real feedback from the real people actually.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine you're getting a lot of feedback from the marketplace and building a community, which is one of the good things about crowdfunding. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's, I think, a very
Y-
important part, because you want to attract as many people as possible. And I know, obviously you started your pilots in India, you're now based in UK, so those are two key markets for you. But what about people in other developing countries? Because obviously, AI, can help detection of diseases early, and this
yeah.
is something that could benefit people all around the world. So, is there much of a barrier to entry for people in, maybe in parts of Africa or other developing parts of the world where they might not have the same,
Yeah.
facilities that we have here?
Well, that's great you asked me this question. They may not have the great facilities. One thing that they have, even better than UK, is the internet. The internet connection is the best, and that's what we need from them. Like I said, technology doesn't have to be expensive. It's the use, how easy we can do it actually, and the better it gets, the cheaper it gets as well, and it gets better as well. So we have a few leads in pipeline, especially for Africa, in Senegal as well. I mean, the other parts as well of Africa, where we are going to be giving the entire ecosystem to hospitals, where they can just give the devices, especially if one of the devices that we have, if you see, that's just one device which takes care of lots of vitals, and it's not one-to-one. So that means you don't have to wear it actually, you can just leave it in, and when people are coming, they can get themselves like checked. They have their own account, they go, and the second person comes. So it's one device which can be used by thousands of people
Okay, so
essentially.
it's
So
separate
it's kind of,
gadget, so it's not that everybody has to have a wearable, expensive Apple Watch or anything like that.
yeah. And then that brings me to the fact that the wearable that we have is also not expensive, but even for African market actually. But we can do bigger quantities. We can do a lot, that we're working with bigger numbers with some of the companies that we're working with. Yeah. So especially in developing countries, the good thing is internet, and that's where we can actually play a big role and help many people, and we are already doing that.
And what about the issue of data privacy? Because obviously healthcare data is very sensitive. So one of our participants was asking how you deal with data privacy on your platform.
Right. So the reason why we took like a year from 2019, when the solution was actually developed in India, we did the pilot, and then I came in England. That's where our entire focus was, to make sure the data is secure, highly secure actually, and hence we have in the pipeline, we're also building a blockchain layer for that. But before the blockchain also, we have some compliance, from fire compliance, HIPAA compliant. They're not just GDPR, they're like the compliance required for the health tech companies. So we are actually following all of them. Our system is highly secure, scalable, and interoperable as well. So that means that if somebody in GP, one of the GP surgeries says that, oh, I want to use your technology, so our features of interoperability is going to make it happen for them. Even a doctor, they want it, they will be able to see the data on their platform along with what they're doing. So for example, EMIS or System One, these are the other, some of the platform where we will be interoperable. Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of the kind of healthcare system, it's set up for them as a kind of business to business solution, and then obviously consumers can also use it directly, but it works for both types of solutions, whether it's
That's right.
an end user like me, or somebody else like me, or whether it's a hospital or a doctor or a care home.
Mm-hmm. It does, yes. So, but we have to, right now, the use case that the most of the clients that we are doing is B2B to C. So they can further ask their their customers. But normally, what you see is we are doing B2B, which is business to business. Either it is NHS or care home or domiciliary care, and we have a very big client coming up, which is on the occupational health, where we have quite a few thousands of people who would be monitored using our watch and the platform. So there's already a set of doctors who have a virtual ward.
Yeah, and I can see obviously for employers, this is also incredibly valuable to be able to, help keep their employees well and keep them working effectively and make sure that they're taken care of. So there's so many different facets to it, which is, I guess, why, you're getting so much interest. Before we come on to your future plans, because obviously you're very intensively fundraising at the moment, I'm sure you're exhausted. And when that ends, you're probably going to have hopefully a glass of champagne and maybe 24 hours of rest before you get on with your plans. But before we come on to your plans for 2021, I just wanted to ask you really sort of big picture question about what's your vision for the future of healthcare, like in 20, 50 years time? How do you think healthcare will look compared to how it is now? And what, what does the sort of PCL angle contribute to that?
I think health is going to be seamless integration in future, like how we can't think about our life without internet today. This generation actually cannot figure out that how did you live without internet. I think that's how it's going to be in a few years time. We'll see that everything will be so seamlessly integrated. And when if you're not well, I'm sorry, but there's going to be a lot of information that we're going to give to these sensors, and these sensors are going to pick information. And so, for example, it might happen in very near future, maybe 5-10 years from now as well, that you're sleeping and your mattress has got a sensor which detects that you actually are not well, you have a fever, you didn't sleep well last night, and then when you get up, your Alexa or one of the bot is going to tell, mostly it will be integrated with Alexa, will say that you didn't sleep well, do you want me to make an appointment, or do you want to check your vitals again, so we know you're fine. And then that's how if you check your vitals, okay, let me have a look, and then Alexa could see that, okay, this doesn't look right to me, let me book an appointment. And on one side, Alexa is going to book your appointment, you're going brushing your teeth, getting ready, and the doctor comes on the wall, like literally on the flash, and the doctor is saying, okay, I've checked your vitals, can you please take this medicine? And then medicine is also going to be automatically ordered with Alexa. It's so much automation that's going to happen in future.
Well, it obviously connects some things we're already familiar with, but it's certainly a different world.
Yeah. So and all that, it will also apply for your half a day. Alexa is going to ask, do you want me to take a half a day off or a day off from your HR will be informed. It's like you'll feel, all right, I don't need to worry, it's all done for me, and let me take a nap again and go back and get well when I'm ready.
It seems like a very nice idea. I guess some people might be a bit scared by the rise of the bots, but
that's what I was saying.
When you're ill, the last thing you want to do is spend hours on the phone calling the doctor's surgery and then phoning your employer and then doing all these things. So
that's
having a more seamless healthcare experience, I think, is something that we will all value in the future. And so coming to PCL again for next year, so this year, what's the plan in terms of once your funding comes in, what do you plan to do? What's the big priorities?
So, well, we are starting with Homerton Hospital, most likely next month. I had a call with them yesterday as well.
That's and for a clinical trial or a pilot?
That's a clinical trial for 6 months. That's one thing. Then we're also finalizing our discussions with occupational health, where it's a virtual ward for monitoring the employees. And it's kind of a very big one as well. So that's that. And then we also have our few trials in pipeline in India as well. So India office is coming up. We're hiring in UK as well as in India. And there are plans, because our chief medical officer, Stuart, is already moved to America, and we have some leads from America. So we'll start looking into nurturing those leads and perhaps have an office there as well soon. So that's a lot to do. And we have a lot of support. There was a lot of hard work done in the last 2.5 years, and that's going to be really helping us now in growing.
Yeah, well, I know how much you've worked because we originally met at the end of 2019. So it was about a year after you first started. And that was when you won the innovation showcase at my Healthcare Unblocked event. And I know that you've done so much work since then. So, and all during a pandemic. So, you know, if anyone can make it happen, I'm sure that you can. Just wanted to come to the last question, which is related really. You know, obviously we're all becoming a bit weary now. It's the middle of winter in the UK, the pandemic is going on, and, you know, we're in a third lockdown. So, you know, health and wellness has become a big focus for all of us to try and kind of stay sane and stay healthy. I'm certainly doing kind of an intensive amount of yoga to try and stay sane. I just wondered, you know, what you do for yourself in terms of your health and wellness to try and if you have any time to do that, to keep yourself.
So yeah, not much, to be honest, but yeah, I do two things. One is in the morning and one is the nighttime. That's when I make sure that I'm giving that time for mental wellness rather than anything else. So I do meditation every single morning and at that time. And there is one more thing actually which I do, and I would like to discuss that. We have a small, just a very small group of friends where we do our readings about Srimad Bhagavatam, which is one of the books, which is the way of living life, which teaches the way to live life consciously, actually. And it actually keeps us all grounded. We can't just go, you know, anywhere in the blink. But that's one lesson that we have, or the book that we read for 45 minutes. It's all about, you know, how to live life, basically, consciously. And we read, as a family. We're a very small group, but that actually is very, very satisfying, to be honest. And that's what I do for this. And apart from that, obviously no walking. I do have a treadmill. I don't get time.
Walking is very, very good. And also, I'd be saying, making time for mental health, I think that's become absolutely essential. And, you know, thinking about what you're doing, because sometimes we're so busy we forget what we've actually done and what we want to do, because we don't even have time to think about our goals. So I know goal setting and being, as you say, mindful of what we're doing is becoming very important for people as well, to just keep a bigger picture perspective on the world in the midst of all the craziness that's happening outside. We're coming to the end of our time, so just tell us before we go how people can find you if they want to follow up on PCL Health. Obviously you're on Crowdcube, but how can they find you on social media?
Right, we have our page, PCL Health, on all the platforms. We are on Facebook, we are on Twitter. We are actually also introducing our, we're doing a chat on Clubhouse. If anyone wants any invite, please do drop us, and we will try to send as many invites we can. It's an invite-only club on Chat House. We are on most of the social media platform, but we're very active on LinkedIn and Facebook. You can connect us there, or email or website. Try to send anything. We will reply back immediately.
Great. Well, we look forward to hopefully seeing some more people on Clubhouse next week, and we're going to be doing, I think, a meet the team with the whole PCL team as well before the end of the Crowdcube fundraise. So thank you so much, Deepti. Wish you every success, and obviously earning more good karma with everything you're doing. So thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, and I really enjoyed chatting. Thank you.
You too. Our next episode is going to be in 2 weeks' time, on the 24th of February, where we're going to be talking to Oliver von Ladsberg-Sadi about his business, BCB, which is a financial services provider for people using crypto assets. So thanks to everyone for listening in. And
thank you.
Bye, Deepti.
Bye-bye.